right, on today's podcast, I was going to talk a little bit about the decisions that farmers will have to make regarding sign up with Farm Service Agency. We keep hearing a lot of questions about how difficult the decisions are and how complicated they are, and to a degree, I would agree. But if you sit back and think about it, the reason why they're complicated, or there's a little bit of difficulty there, is because the Farm Bill was allowed producers to tailor the options of how they're going to be covered over the next 5 years to their individual operations by farm, and more so even within the commodities on each farm. So Chart 1 basically is a flow chart of the Title 1 or the commodity program titles of the Farm Bill. And the covered commodities is an important little phrase. Within farm bills, the covered commodities are distinguished, and basically these crops are the ones that are going to be covered by the provisions of the bill. So in the years past, we would have 8 or 9 different program crops. Well, now it's about 21. And so when you start looking at it, the amount of protection afforded by the Farm Bill is expanded. But the first thing you need to know is there are certain decisions that are going to need to be made whenever sign-up starts this year. And the very first ones will be this base reallocation decision or not. And secondly, there is a choice between ARC and PLC. And essentially, the base reallocation decision and ARC and PLC decisions are essentially interrelated. If you're going to reallocate your program basis to a crop, it would make a lot of sense to consider which one of the alternatives, ARC or PLC, you would like to, you think you're going to use, to make sure that specifically those are the ones that you've reallocated your basis to the programs that will provide you the most protection. So it's that makes a lot of sense that they're going to be interrelated. And then in the graphic, basically, it's drawn as kind of a little donut that says these things are connected. When you start talking about the farm program choices, there's choose ARC or choose PLC. ARC is the shallow loss plan that is afforded producers to either choose on a county basis or an individual basis. And what that really means is that ARC is going to set a benchmark of revenues of which losses are measured against to determine whether there'll be any support from the government. County ARC uses county yields and national average prices. Individual ARC uses individual farm yields and national average prices to set that benchmark and to determine the actual for a year to determine whether there's a loss or not. The big difference there is county ARC uses that, again, county data, and you can pick county ARC for a crop, and on the same farm you could pick PLC for a different crop. The big choice is if you pick individual ARC, all the covered commodities on that farm are going to be in individual ARC. And essentially, without getting too far into the details today, that is essentially because they're going to use all the crops, the covered crops on that farm to aggregate to determine a farm level benchmark of which losses will be measured against. So that's one nuance. There's 2 choices under ARC, but one of them, if you choose individual, it precludes you from choosing price loss coverage for anything else. The other option on the chart is basically price loss coverage, and that is similar to a target price program we've had in the past. It is a choice where you could choose PLC for one crop on the farm, and for another crop on the farm, same farm, FSA farm number, you could choose county ARC, and that's absolutely fine. There's a number of places where they'll probably go all one program type for that farm or all another type, but that's going to be the producer's choice, and that's one of the reasons why this has to be done for every crop on every FSA farm number. And so that's why those producers are saying that this is a lot of confusion, is a lot of detail of what they're going to have to do. And the fact of the matter is, just make sure you understand the detail and the confusion is all because they're giving you more power to make this decision to give yourself the best protection if things go wrong. Going further, if you choose price loss coverage, the Farm Bill makes it very clear that you'll have the ability to update the payment yield. In most cases, the countercyclical payment yield will be used unless through the updating process you could get a higher yield. Obviously, you would like to have a higher one rather than a low one, because that's what converts the losses to dollars to a producer. This graphic has this vertical line drawn that says, okay, over here is the Title 11, and the Title 11 is crop insurance title. And there's some interactions back and forth, and the reason why those interactions are drawn is because while there's always been an interrelationship with crop insurance programs, in this particular farm bill, the relationship is very strong, meaning that, for example, the supplemental coverage option, which is the very bottom right box, it's not available in 2014. It's available beginning in for the 2015 crop. Well, the only way you could choose SCO, supplemental coverage option, as a crop insurance plan is by choosing price loss coverage. There's no way to get there. If you choose ARC, you're not eligible for SCO. And that's one of the things that makes this bill a bit more confusing, because you've got a insurance product that you may or may not want to buy, that the only way you can get it is through one of the alternatives with Title I decision. So it makes it a little bit more confusing, and what really compounds it is this. The base reallocation choice between ARC and PLC, that has to be done whenever sign-up is available this year. It's for the length of the farm bill, one sign-up for the life of this farm bill. Supplemental coverage option is not available till 2015, and that means that producers are going to be making a choice on sign-up, which is somewhat related to this insurance decision that is not available for a few years, and that's going to make it a lot more complicated. Again, if producers will do one thing, is take a deep breath, step back, and just say, what are the things I have to make decisions on this year, and what's the information we have available, they're going to find that this isn't too big of a deal. The second thing is upland cotton in the state of Texas is a big crop. It is no longer a covered commodity according to the Farm Service Agency. What that means is the decisions we just talked about are not applicable for upland cotton. Upland cotton is now, in my words, basically an insurance only, including the loan, but an insurance crop. That's meaning that essentially the protection from the government is going to come from the insurance side. And that there's two choices, stacked income protection, or they can have SCO as well. It's not quite all that clear. I get a lot of questions about, I don't have any choice on cotton protection. That is not true. You've got two choices. You've got stacks or you've got SCO. Each of them have, they are both area plans. They can be used both can be used in combination with existing individual plans, or in the case of stacks, it could be a standalone plan. If you purchase SCO, then there has to be an underlying policy beneath it, individual plan beneath it. When you start looking at these plans, and we're going to spend a lot more time discussing it, there are some pluses and minuses with them, just like there is with most of these programs. But when you start looking at upland cotton, there are choices. There's two, and producers are going to need to be making those choices when they sign up for their insurance program. This has just been a brief description of some of the choices that are going on in this farm bill, and essentially the main thing to keep in mind is that none of this has to be done in the next few weeks. There's going to be ample time to be educated on the decisions, to do work with decision aids that will be available on the internet with FSA, and to make their sign-up decisions whenever that sign-up is announced.